Tyron Woodley's welterweight championship dreams turned into a nightmare, specifically a Nigerian nightmare. What's up, folks? Fred Richani, TSC, your home for MMA news updates, interviews, and everything in between. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We've got some breaking news from UFC 235. Tyron Woodley was out-wrestled, was outstruck, was absolutely, positively dominated by the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman, and now Kamaru Usman can call himself the owner of a 10-fight win streak and the new welterweight champion, and he now has sole possession of that welterweight crown. I don't want to hear any crap about Colby Convington and his fake belt. I don't want to hear anything about RDA. I don't want to hear about anybody else, Ben Askren, Robbie Lawler, whatever. Kamaru Usman did something many people haven't done. Okay, very few people have done, in fact. Kamaru Usman came in against Tyron Woodley, clicked on all cylinders, dominated him on the feet, although he did take some shots in round number 4, and dominated him, most importantly, on the ground, even with Mark Goddard's dumbass, the referee, trying to stand them up every 5 seconds, like, oh, you got to work, oh, you got to fight. Usman was working like crazy. Some of the fight wasn't pretty. A lot of the wrestling, as Joe Rogan called it, was kind of ugly, or Dominic Cruz called it, was kind of ugly. But at the end of the day, he got the job done. Look at these scores. Now, think about this. 50-44, 50-44, 50-45. Complete domination. Woodley was in danger a couple times of being finished, especially in round number 4. And there was a point in the fight where he hit a glancing strike. You know, I think it was a right hand, like to the top of Usman's head, but Usman shook it off. And there was a huge exchange at the end of round number 4 where both guys, I think, could have been finished. You know, it was anybody's fight at that point. But for the most part, Usman dominated. I mean, I think he dominated every point of the fight. I mean, there was really no glimmer of hope for Woodley. The announcers kept talking about, oh, Woodley looks like he hasn't woken up, or he never woke up. I don't know about that. I mean, look, Woodley said after the fight, you know, it was just a bad dream, a nightmare. You know what I mean? Like, Usman had the answers. Usman tagged him. Even when Usman had him on the ground and it looked like he wasn't doing much, he was hitting him with the shoulder. He was punching his body. He was stepping on his feet. He was doing everything. He was always working. And afterwards, Usman cut this very heartfelt promo. First, he said, yeah, I mixed this shit up. I'm the best in the world. But he also put over Tyron Woodley as a great underappreciated champion, which I think a lot of people would agree with him on that one. And he talked about how he had his humble beginnings to come here to the UFC to make it big. Had his daughter on his shoulder, said, baby girl, I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. You lit a fire under my ass. I love you. Thank the fans. Thank the UFC. It was just a great moment, and I really do think that we just saw a star-making performance. As for Woodley, I got to say, man, I mean, that was just not a great performance. We can't sugarcoat it. I'm sure he's not. To the credit of his corner, they kept saying, hey, man, you got to come forward. You got to just come forward. You got to knock him out. You got to finish this fight. But it is what it is. But, folks, I want to hear from you. Who do you think is next for Kamaru Usman? Would you put Colby Convington in a title fight next? And what is next for Tyron Woodley? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us, Facebook us. Do what you got to do. Stay tuned for our in-depth UFC 235 recap featuring the results of Jones versus Smith. Until then, as always, folks, enjoy the fights.